Hey, it's me, Nalthazar, and welcome to another Magic the Gathering Puzzle Quest video. In today's video, I'm going to be going over how I'm going to be setting up my tier lists and giving an update to how I'm doing the rankings. So, let's get into it. If you're familiar with my previous tier list, it went, I think, S, A, B, C, D. I think I just had those ranks. But we have so many Planeswalkers in the game right now that I thought it would make sense to have an F tier. These are just going to be just the absolute god-awful Planeswalkers. Like, Planeswalkers that have really no use at all in any situation if you can use pretty much any other Planeswalker, right? So an example would be Origins Jace is without a doubt an F tier Planeswalker. Whereas the S plus tier, these are going to be Planeswalkers that are great no matter what. So basically, independent of standard shifts, these Planeswalkers are going to be great. Now, I'm going to be doing the tier list rankings based on standard, not based on legacy. There will be a few Planeswalkers that I might touch upon for their viability in legacy, but legacy really just uses the S plus tier Planeswalkers for the most part. And so if a Planeswalker is S plus tier, then it's probably going to be a very good option in legacy as well as standard. So an example of an S plus tier Planeswalker for me from the mono section, and this is a little bit more tricky from the mono section because mono-colored Planeswalkers are always going to be reliant on the cards that are available. So there is almost no way for a mono-colored Planeswalker to be an S plus tier Planeswalker as compared to some of the dual-colored Planeswalkers. But so for the monocolored, when I get into just the monocolored tier list, it's going to be based on which are the monocolored Planeswalkers that stand out and will always stand out for their color, right? I almost exclusively play monocolored Planeswalkers. I just do it based on which one is currently the best. So for example, Jace Unraveler of Secrets to me is an S plus tier Planeswalker in the mono section, just because his unravel ability that makes it so that your creatures get +4/+4 permanently every time you draw a card is always going to be viable. It's always going to be strong. And if you're a new player trying to get into the game and you need a new Planeswalker that is going to be very strong, Jace Unraveler is definitely going to be the way to go for that. In my opinion, Jace Unraveler happens to be the unquestioned best mono blue Planeswalker as well. And so that's part of why Jace Unraveler is going to be in the S plus tier. Furthermore, the only Planeswalkers that I'm really planning to go over in depth are going to be Planeswalkers that have moved a tier. So I'll explain why they've moved up or why they've moved down, or a brand new Planeswalker. So I'll go over all of the new Planeswalkers that have come out since my previous tier list. So those will also all have their own little blurb about why is it that I'm putting them where I am putting them. And then that about does it. Oh, right, S, except for S, right? The S tier is also going to be a little bit different. So while before S tier were the best Planeswalkers, now S tier are going to be Planeswalkers that might be the best because of certain cards that exist in Standard right now. So a great example of that right now is actually Liliana Death's Majesty because of the Tainted Adversary. If you put Tainted Adversary and Liliana Death's Majesty together, you can achieve a lot of objectives in certain events and just absolutely blow them away. Another excellent example of an S tier Planeswalker for me right now would be the Dungeon Master. Dungeon Master by himself is a pretty terrible Planeswalker, but because of the third ability on the Dungeon Master, making it so that you automatically get a full party, assuming you've built your deck for that, it makes it so that the Dungeon Master is the end-all, be-all, best option for the party node in events that require you to have a full party. So as a result for that, he's S tier because he is going to be the best Planeswalker for some events. Better than any other Planeswalker that you can choose. But he's not going to be one of the best Planeswalkers outside of that event. So I'll go over Planeswalkers that are in the S tier for that versus Planeswalkers that are in the S tier just because they're incredibly powerful Planeswalkers. So we have, as I said, a ton of Planeswalkers. I want to say there's 55 monocolored Planeswalkers. and then there just are going to be more because of the dual and tricolor walkers. So there's going to be 3 videos in total. After this one for monocolor, one for dual color, one for tricolor. So I hope that this explains how I'm going to be doing all of the rankings, and I will see you all in that next video.